Renovating for profit is a gamble if you don't know what you're doing. If you've ever considered renovating and been inspired by a doer-upper and knowing how beautiful you could make it, but overwhelmed by all the things that could go wrong, the budget blowouts, choosing the wrong property, or even just not knowing where to start, you're not alone. Many dream of being able to transform properties, not just aesthetically, but also so that they can transform their financial future and security. And so I'm going to bridge that gap between that dream and the reality so that you can move forward safely. I'll show you that with knowledge and strategies, renovating for profit isn't about luck. You'll learn to identify properties that have the maximum return, allocate budgets appropriately, and make informed decisions, effectively shifting the odds in your favor. As I said, this is not just about beautifying spaces. It's about building financial stability and independence using the profit you make from renovating. I'll show you how risk takers don't always come out on top and how to avoid costly mistakes. Renovating for profit without this information is like going on a treasure hunt without a map. The map is your market research, and the treasure is the perfect property that will deliver the profit that you seek. It isn't just about finding a property, it's about identifying and finding a hidden gem where the profit potential may not be immediately obvious and others may have overlooked it. This is a property that I bought some years ago. It lingered on the market for months. A woman living next door to the property was a renovator, and even though she lived in the area, she had not taken the time to understand her market and couldn't see the potential. I had spent weeks researching, understanding the nuances of the market and waiting for the right property. This property was in a blue ribbon area. It had some obvious issues that I knew I could overcome, and I could identify the profit potential. Fast forward 6 months and I had purchased the property. I had completed a well-planned, budgeted and executed renovation. I had sold it for a profit of $178,000. Meanwhile, the renovator next door was still looking and, quite frankly, a bit put out. The difference is understanding the market and being able to identify the profit potential. So how do you identify the right property? Start by immersing yourself in local trends, attend open inspections and auctions, and network with local agents. Build your brain's trust. Look at both renovated and unrenovated properties. Look beyond the surface. Consider their location in the suburb and also their position in the street. Look at the property condition and the cost to bring it up to standard. Monitor the market demand, especially for renovated properties. You don't want just any property. The right property in the right location at the right price will significantly increase your chances of success. We call it the right sort of ugly. Let's imagine that you decide to create a tasty restaurant dish that you absolutely love for a guest you want to impress, but you don't have a recipe and the guest is sitting in your dining room. You can't manage to recreate that delicious dish, and all those expensive ingredients get wasted because what you've created is just not edible. This could have been avoided if you had researched the recipe thoroughly and planned out the preparation and presentation of the dish. The same approach applies to renovating. You need to put the time and effort into the groundwork before you start renovating. Once you've found your hidden gem, your next goal is to ensure that it doesn't turn into a disaster, and here's how to avoid that. You create a solid strategic plan. Start with the end in mind. Effective planning, budgeting, and project management are your recipe for success. They are built on the backbone of your market research, ensuring that your vision comes to life without a financial nightmare. Often renovators will excitedly start a renovation with just a vague back of the envelope plan and a vision. It's not enough. This approach almost always ends in tears. As the project unfolds, unforeseen costs begin to emerge. Things cost more than you planned and the project drags on and the stress mounts. 80% of your project happens before you go to site. Meticulous planning produces predictable profit. Break down your renovation into stages. Allocate a realistic budget for each and include a buffer for unexpected surprises. When hiring contractors, don't just select on price. Vet them and take into account the quality of their work, their reliability, and their time efficiency, because all those things play into a quality outcome. Effective project management means keeping a close eye on progress, ensuring that the work is up to standard and costs are controlled. This way, you maintain control over your project, steering it towards the profit margin you identified in your planning rather than ending in a money pit. With your project on track and your budget in check, the next question is, how do you ensure that your project not only looks good, but also significantly boosts your property's value? How you maximize your return on investment is by choosing renovations that your buyer will love and pay for, and then turning every dollar into 2 or 3 on your final sale price. Most people fall into an easy trap that erodes away at their profit. As a renovator, you can feel like an artist with a palette of beautiful colors, and you want to use all of them and make something stunningly beautiful. In renovating for profit, ideas are like the colors, and you can't use them all, you must choose. The secret is to choose the right improvements that increase the property's value without overcapitalizing. So in other words, the buyer is willing to pay for those improvements. You can't do everything, so you must decide what not to do. Often it's what you don't do that makes the most profit. In short, you must only make improvements that your buyer is willing to pay for. And you can discover what they are in your research. Here's a few examples that have helped me double my profits. Creating the buyer's dream kitchen at a tiny price by buying pre-loved cabinetry like this one. Transforming the curb appeal by reworking the entranceway. And here we create a simple home office with some timber screening. Appeal to the buyers or renters' hearts by creating a home that they feel they must have. Ultimately, you want to spend the least amount on renovating your property, maximizing the property's appeal without blowing up the budget. As you saw from my project, these steps helped me make $178,000 in profit where others couldn't see the value. But as I've explained, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And if you're serious about profitable renovating, if you want to avoid the embarrassment and the mistakes that most beginner renovators make and turn every renovation project into a success, but don't have a proven blueprint to follow, here's how I can help. Check out the Profitable Renovator video. In it, you'll learn how to make a profit from renovating using equity from your home or a loan, and how to avoid the most common mistakes that newbie renovators make.